evolved the Oak Island universe is that type of person. You guys, I can tell you're that type of person. You hear a story like this, you latch onto it like a dog, and you're just like, let's go. And yes, it's frustrating. And yes, you want it to be solved tomorrow. And yes, who doesn't want to find a chest of gold? Of course we do. Of course, everyone does. But it doesn't work like that sometimes. These things are hard. And so it's taking what it's taking. And that is, in this case, 10 years.
Right. How does it affect us in changing of the history, or getting down to the nitty gritty of the history?
It won't change history. It will explain.
There you go. Perfect. Thank you. That's what I was saying.
It will explain parts of North American history you've never thought about.
See, I can't. The History Channel could not have come up with a better teaser than we just did right here. So I tell you what, stay tuned, folks, because this is going to be a good one. I can't wait.
This is Robert Clotworthy, the narrator of The Curse of Oak Island. And I have a question for you. Could it be that you are listening to The Curse of Oak Island and Beyond live stream?
This is a top pocket find, mate, for sure.
Hey everybody, Jeff here with The Curse of Oak Island and Beyond live stream at J3 906. Excuse me, I had a little frog there. And here we are, Tom Burns on board again tonight. Tom, how you doing tonight?
Back again. Great, thanks.
Let me turn that up just a smidge. How's everybody doing out there tonight? Thank you for coming by. Another good episode.
Wasn't that amazing?
They're knocking them out of the park this year, one after another. It's funny because I was out on some of the other sites, and I'm reading some of the things that are going on, some of the other Facebook pages about Oak Island and stuff. And some of the people are like, whatever. I'm like, really? This has been a great season so far. I don't know. What do you guys think in the chat out there tonight? What do you guys think? Has this been a good season so far, or what? I think so.
I think it's been fantastic.
Yeah.
The facts and the artifacts that we're seeing, the facts that we're gathering are to me, we've already gone past last year.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So we'll give it a couple of shout outs. Paula, of course, always number one out here.
Yeah.
Linda. Yep. Jackie. Let's see who else we got out here. Backwoods Crazy. Yeah, I like that. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that other word there. No, yeah. Wade's here. Nope. Yeah. Hey, Wade, how you doing?
Tara from PEI, Henry DeWitt, Anne Marie, April, Kat, Jack, Jan, of course. Jeff Babineau.
Yep, from Anchor Tours. There he is.
Yep.
How you doing?
Yep. So, yeah.
Kate's here. Robert Dean. Craig Robbins.
Barbara Duncan.
Look at that.
All the usual suspects.
Tom Burns is here. Yeah. Robot's here. Hey, Robot. How you doing? Eva. Hey, Eva. How you doing? From Chile, Colorado. Yeah, give us some of you guys we know. Pat, we know is in Mississippi. Thank you, Pat, for putting that on there. It's always nice to see where you guys are from. We know where some of you are from. John Edwards is out there. Hey, John.
Hey, John.
What's up? Winston. Jess. I got to tell you, folks, did you see the logo? I put that. I had to share that out on the Facebook group page. I put it on my personal page, I think.
Put it on your personal page, I think, yeah.
Yeah. So, but new logo. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy with this thing. We might have some trinkets coming. I don't know. We'll see. Been talking to Jess. She's just fantastic. Thank you, Jess, so much for doing that. That was awesome. Really.
If I had half our energy, I'd be a star.
I know, right? Ann's here. Hey, Ann, how you doing? Jeff's in the house. Jan is out there working hard. Thank you, Jan. And Linda, of course, is doing her thing. And again, I talked to StreamYard and I said, you guys, come on. Is this, if I have an admin in StreamYard and working and doing chat and stuff like that, why, when that admin says something, you give me the ability to have an admin in here and a co-host, which is Tom, the co-host. But when that person chats, why does it come up and have my name? Wouldn't it be, make sense to have their name on it? And I asked StreamYard and they're like, yeah, it doesn't do that. I'm like, well, I know it doesn't that? I said, do you guys have a suggestion box? Maybe I could put that, and I told the guy I was chatting with, I said, kind of no brainer, isn't it? He's like, yeah, it kind of is.
You think so?
You think, I don't know. So maybe in one of the future updates.
Next year's budget.
Yeah, next year's budget. Hey, Todd Berg is here. Todd is going. Robert, hey, Robert Jarno. Appreciate it. Yeah, I've been chatting it up with Robert quite a bit, over in the Discord channel that I have, and it's linked down below the Discord channel. If you want to check it out, it's cool. If not, no big deal. But we have it there for these Curse of Oak Island and also for the Skinwalker Ranch folks. And I like to hang out in there. I'm usually in there a couple hours before the show and chatting it up with people if I can. And I'm usually doing this and that. So I'm not 100% paying attention until like the last hour. And then, of course, D&D is having their show, Dustin and Deidre over there. And so I have to I don't have to, but I like to watch, some of their stuff too. So yeah, it becomes one of those things. But we like to sit and then during the commercial, when the Curse of Oak Island's on during the commercial, then we're chatting, typing away. Hey, what about this and that? And or talking or whatever. So it's a lot of fun. Anyway. So if you'd like to join us for like I don't know what you call it, a watch party or something. If you want to join us, we're hanging out in Discord Tuesday nights starting at about 7 thereabouts, hanging out, talking it up in there.
Johnny Carson.
Who said that? Oh, that was you.
That's you, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I see Donna McCauley's there. Hi, Donna.
Hey, Donna. Hi. Oh, man. I can't wait to, hopefully get the opportunity to meet Donna when I come out to Texas in March. So hopefully that'll all work out. So we'll get that Squeaks power. So, so I've been really excited. I think that last night's episode was another good one. And I think they have all been very good this season. Really, really been, just the whole thing of looking underground and some of the stuff. And, what's really nice is, the co-hosts that I've had, we've got stuff coming up in the future here with different co-hosts, but Tom has been bringing so much to the table. You'll see as we go along tonight that, and Henry's always doing good input too. Even
Henry does the research. Let me tell you.
Yeah, he does. He really does. And so it's really helpful to have, and Jan and Linda, of course, really help to having such a surrounded by such a great group of people that just honestly make this show so much better than me up here just going along. Right. So,
and Linda keeps the ship moving.
Yeah, she does. Yes, she does. So, episode number 8, a lot to be desired. Again, they cover them up with these colorful names, but we know that lot that they are talking about is lot number 5. We're going to talk about that a little bit tonight as we go along as well. But lot number 5, they finally get out there. So, let's get rolling here. Let's see. Get my pictures all up and ready to go. And let's see, got to add it to the stream. There we are. All right. So, Curse of Oak Island, episode number 8, a lot to be desired. And again, I thought it was really good. And, they start off right off the bat in the war room on this one. And they've got the geophysicist, Jeremy Church. Now, we've seen Jeremy before. He's been out on the island before doing some stuff. He was just there, I think, last week or something. And he was showing, they were getting ready. He wasn't there last week, was he? Was that? I don't think
can't recall.
Being pushed around in the boat by Tony Sampson. Yeah, Linda, I was just reading. So anyway, Jeremy's at the table and he's bringing with him the preliminary data. Now he qualified this when he got to the table. He got to this and he qualified it when he got to the table, and he said that this is just early on data. This is what they're first coming up with. They got a lot more to do, a lot more processing of the data that they need to get done before
this is the raw data. This is just the raw data.
Yeah. But I tell you what, it had such awesome. It was Pant. Oh, okay. Oh, he was in the boat. Okay, all right. Thank you. He was in the boat. All right. So, but he came to the table with this right here. And, initially I'm looking at it and I'm like, the first thing I thought was, where's the ship shape anomaly? But wait a second. Before I get all disappointed about the ship shape anomaly, I have to remember that this wasn't a scan. It was a scan, but it was a scan looking for
specific items, I guess,
Yes.
or like metal objects or things
Yes.
of certain resistance.
Conductivity things.
So, is that a ship? And those are all the metal components showing up? Or a barge?
Could it be?
I don't know.
It could be. I don't know. It could be.
Connect the
Maybe.
dots. Connect the dots. We'll have a little
Connect the
map drawing
dots.
contest.
Yeah. So I got looking at this, and this is really cool. And it tells them, I mean, right off the bat, we saw them as they were pushing the dinghy along. And as they were pushing, as Tony Sampson was pushing it, right off the bat, when they got right over by Nolan's Peninsula, thing was going nuts, and it's going off and everything. So initially, I mean, they were getting hits right off the bat. Now, that is an interesting thing because we know that they've found quite a few different metal objects in the swamp. They pulled up spikes, they pulled up metal bands, they pulled up, many different those ring bolts. I think they were calling them ring bolts.
Eye bolts, ring bolts.
Yeah. They were pulling those up out of there. So who knows for sure what these things are? We don't know for sure.
Let's put it this way: there was always speculation that they burnt a ship in the swamp.
Yes.
Right. There's going to be a lot of stuff laying around from a burnt ship.
You betcha. Absolutely. And we'll get to see hopefully this season. And that's one of the you hate to see them at an all stop in the money pit with the Dumas mining and the rehab of the garden shaft. We don't want to see them at a stop. We know they're at a stop during this portion of the season. They're at a stop because they're getting permits, because now they have to look at it as mining and not as a rehab of an old shaft.
It gives the osprey time to settle out on their nest too.
Gives the, and that's funny because we had the pictures of the osprey nest up there in the top of the crane, and the perfect time. I had no idea. I remember looking at that from the drone footage, and it was like, well, wait a minute. If this thing is being operated all the time, then how could the osprey have made a nest up there at that time? We did not know it was sitting idle for a while, right? So there you go. There's the reason why. They saw this as a great opportunity. Hey, Deidre, how you doing? I was just talking about you where your ears are burning.
Yep, there she is.
Yep, there she is. I speak of her and she shows up.
She appears.
So, it was really cool to see all these dots on here. All these red dots, of course, were the areas where the red dots are areas where highest conductivity, and that could indicate metal objects. Last week, Jeremy and his partner, Burton Cosgrove, scanned the swamp and with the help of Tony Sampson, who did all the hard work, really, quite honestly. And I asked if you guys hadn't seen when I had Tony on, Tony and Barry Clifford were on last Thursday, and we were talking the Beyond episode, but I asked Tony specifically about pushing that boat around and what it was like. I mean, because we've seen, if you haven't watched that, you should go check it out. It's on YouTube there. You can check it out. It's the Beyond episode that he was in. But Bellamy's Bounty, I think it was called. But anyway, so I asked, Tony about that, about pushing that boat around. I said, now when you're pushing that around, you're feeling the texture underneath. And we've seen Billy Gerhardt out there with the excavator pulling up, I mean, deep muck.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine trying to walk on that, even if you're covered up to your chest in water. Can you imagine trying to walk in that stuff? I mean,
you couldn't. I mean, that's why in the early episodes you had to put the plywood down, right?
Yeah.
So that they could walk over it.
That's crazy. I can't imagine him. And he said it wasn't too bad, but then again, he could feel the texture or the bottom. He could feel it with his feet when it was mushy or when it was hard, when he was on top of a rock base or something. He said there's a lot more to be found.
Yeah, I think the water, they've removed so much mud there now that the water is actually deeper and it's probably giving them some buoyancy.
Yep. Yeah, could be. Yeah, there's a shot of him pushing that around. There he is there. Professional diver pushing around a boat. But that was the perfect thing to do because he could be more precise. They had to be very precise in their movements. And if you look at that paper right here, and it said right in there, intercoil spacing 4 millimeter maximum, or 4 meter maximum, sorry.
Yeah.
And just looking at some of these things on here. So yeah.
And you can see the distances up and down the sheet all measured off in meters. And on the right-hand side, looks like the legend for the conductivity.
Yeah, right here. Exactly. Yes. And you see the 76 is where these ones were showing up. These red, well, the red ones are actually higher than 76. I think 76 is just the orange right here. So these red dots are got to be getting up in here around the 101 area, 106. That's incredible. That's got to be a big hit. I mean, you have to go check that out. So, and then they got talking a little bit. They kind of pushed on a little bit, and then they got looking back. There's Burton when he was in the boat with him. But then he got talking about this gentleman right here. And this man is Jack Adams and his family that was there in the 1930s. And that's what, during the scan, the group talked about several metal objects in the swamp. And Rick wonders if one of these targets could be the mystery box found by island caretaker Jack Adams during the 1930s. In 1969, Fred Nolan drained the swamp after hearing this story about the mystery box, but he never found it. Fred never found it.
No.
And there's Fred when he drained it, and they're out there looking around in the swamp.
I wondered if that mystery box that he found, I don't know what method he was using, whether he was using the stick and the tap method or whatever.
Yeah.
But I wonder what method he was using to try and do that, because he could have been walking along the edge of one of those rock structures too, thinking that was a box.
Oh, thank you, Linda. That's right. I was wondering if that was the case. Linda just reminded me that this girl is the girl who found the key. They had a key named, or she had a key, or I've forgotten her name. What was her name? I can't remember her name. But she's the one who saw the ghost of the British soldiers. Peggy. It was Peggy.
Peggy. That's right.
Peggy's key. Yeah. And she's the one who saw the ghosts, or what she came back and told her father that she saw these men in red uniforms marching. And so that's the girl right there. Janet said so too. Thank you, Janet. Peggy is the one who saw what she thought were soldiers. She came back and described them to her father, and he was like, there's no soldiers on the island right now. So Jack was using a rod and probe.
Okay.
So, but there you see Fred when he was back there working it over. Now, Fred is the one who came up with the idea that the swamp had been at one point an open area between the two islands, the Eastern Drumlin and Western Drumlin. Okay, so you got the two sections of the island that are now one, but he thought that there was always there was two, and that it had been dammed up on both sides, and he was the one that felt that there was a ship that had been burned and sunk in the swamp, and they covered it up by making it a swamp rather than an area between the two islands. We still don't have any proof of that, but they did look tonight or last night for that in that episode. You see these two walls, and I took this. Before I get to that, he also pointed out this feature right here,
next to the eye, or just above the eye. Yeah,
right about where the eye of the swamp is. And he said this is an interesting spot to be checking right here, and that's where the eye of the swamp is. Now, with the eye of the swamp, of course, that circled area had a circle of stones around it.
Right. Yep.
And was also where they found all the blue clay. Now, my recollection was off a little bit. I was thinking that area was the spot where Ian Spooner had said that there was a blue clay mine, and I had to backtrack on that a little bit. Linda and Tom and everybody reminded me that he backed off from that because they found all that blue clay, but they really weren't sure if it was a blue clay mine or if it was using the blue clay to seal up something, which is where Jack and I always went to.
That's another theory that's out there. Yeah, that it was actually the blue clay was used to actually plug something, and the rocks were used to mark the spot.
Yes, exactly. And John Edwards and I talked about that very same thing. Pull the plug. I was calling it a plug. It's a plug. Pull that daggone plug and find out, is that an entrance to some sort of the money pit?
Yeah.
Another tunnel? I don't know.
Goodness knows. I mean, that could be leading to what they see for anomalies underneath the swamp, right? So
right. I'm
But
so
if it's a
glad to
blue,
see them giving it more attention.
if it's a blue clay mine and it was actually mined, there wouldn't be blue clay 18 inches from the top.
Right. Yeah, 15 inches or so, something like
Yeah.
that. So I'm glad to see him giving it attention again. I really am. I want to see what's on there. And if I remember correctly, some of the photographs that were taken during the summer months from either Colin Jameson or from Karen Publicover, we saw the large excavator, the long reach, was in the swamp during the summer, and it was over by the eye at one point. You might have seen that when you guys were there, you and Henry. Where was it?
Yeah,
when
no,
you
we couldn't see anything going on in the swamp when we were there. No,
All right.
that would have been probably, well, it would have been well after we were there.
So yeah, so that's pretty cool. So I'm glad to see. What do you think, Jack? And I didn't see, but again, like I said, I was initially I was a little drawn back because there was no ship shape anomaly, but that's not the scan they were doing here. So when he first showed that paper, I'm like, hey, where is it? But yeah, that wasn't what they were looking for. They were looking for metal hits. So yeah, so number 20. So that was, it looked like it was a 26. I think it's a 26 right
26
there.
it said, yeah.
So let's see. That would be, yeah, it's not high up the scale, but it's enough to warrant being looked at. Yeah, so right here, kind of on the bottom of the scale, but still, blue is almost nothing. So
yeah. And we have to keep in mind too that all of these things that they're finding were not necessarily left by the same group of people either.
Exactly. Yep, exactly right. So they talk about that spot a little bit, and but yeah, Dr. Spooner believes that the shaft might have been created as much as 350 years ago. Wait a minute, is that part of the eye of the swamp? Yeah. The team wants to, they got to get permits.
So if the eye was created 350 years ago, and the stone feature that's what above and to the right of the eye was what 1100 years old.
Yes. Yeah.
Multiple people, multiple uses. If the stone feature at the front or at the bottom of the swamp is Portuguese, it's in the 1500s.
Yep.
Multiple people,
platform
multiple
was
uses.
right about here. Yep.
Yep. So.
Yeah, pretty interesting. So we got yet to see, but Tom had talked about this a little bit, and Tom had told the team that he felt that his dad always believed that there was a wall. Now we're going to get to that in just a few minutes when they get over to lot 10, but a stone feature was 1200 AD. Yes, exactly. But there was he feels that there was a wall there. And so they actually get to go check that out a little bit during this episode, which is really cool. I'm really interested to see that. Craig says that the eye has more depth to it than what they had originally thought. So underneath that blue clay. So we're going to get to see about that. Yeah. Yeah, exactly, John. Yeah, it's a plug. I think it's a plug. They were using it to seal something up. And what would they be using to see? What would they be sealing up? Right? It's got to be either an open cavity or it's got to be a tunnel or something. If that is what it is, that's what it's got. Got to be something like that. All right. So next we jump over to the money pit. Before I go there, I wanted to say too, these areas that we saw, the red dots on that paper. Now Craig had asked Jeremy about these and said, if you could pick a couple of them, which would be your highest targets that you'd want to see? Now they have to go get permits, and that's going to take a little bit of time to get the permits. So that's why he wanted to narrow it down to a couple of spots.
Yeah, and he wanted a little more clarity around the actual interpretation as well.
Yeah,
because Alex was all pumped and ready to go get the permits, right? He said, "You want to go get them?" And well, no, we're going to wait till we can,
yeah,
get a little more clarity around what they're.
Yeah, they could spend all their time out there digging around for, and wasting the permits and the time and everything. So they want to be right on that. So, but next we jump over to the money pit. And one of the things that I keep noticing in these pictures, and I still don't know exactly what these are, but this shot right here, you see these holes right here?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they have air being ducted into right here. This is a air blower, and it's ducting fresh air down into the cavity, down into the opening, right? So what are these holes right here for?
I wonder if they left the casing there so they could drop more sonar down or more cameras down.
I would think so. I think you're right.
Hmm.
Now the casing generally sticks up a little bit from the surface, you know, but I don't know. I mean, they haven't filled these back in. I just keep seeing these holes, and I'm like, man, how deep are they, and what are they for? I just don't know. Interesting.
Because they said they were going to go back and drill more around the garden shaft. So
Yeah, absolutely. But in the money pit now, they're working on borehole number L-15, and that's this one right here. L-15 is where they drilled into and found a void at the depth of about 150 feet. The team put a camera down the borehole trying to determine if there was a void, natural cavity, or if it was man-made. After seeing objects in this cavity, they did not that did not look natural, the team decided to do a sonar scan. So they went and got the sonar equipment, and they dropped it down into L-15.
And one of the other reasons they did the sonar too was because Alex said that with the camera they couldn't get a sense of scale.
Exactly.
Remember last year we were wondering how big or how deep or whatever was going on down there. Right. Alex mentioned that they couldn't get a sense of scale with the camera, and the sonar would do that.
Yeah, they could be. They could be some sort of vent holes if they're over that far, but they're still going straight down. Well, we don't know. Yeah. And again, I have to qualify that we don't know exactly when that picture was taken, or what portion of the summer that picture is from. We don't know that, because if that it's because they're still going in this time frame of the show being on last night. They're still going straight down, and we don't even know how far down they've even made it before they had to stop. Because of the permits, we don't know for sure. So
I see Robert said he thought it might be the muon, but I think the muon is well protected by those concrete caps.
Yeah, I think they're in that 5 pattern, the box with one in the center. I think that's your muon sensors are in that. The high quality of mercury in the eye may be part of the gold we're seeing in the money pit area tunnels back and forth. Could be. Yeah, I'd forgotten about the mercury.
And you can see in that photo you have up now how far they leave that casing sticking out of the ground.
Yeah, see that casing, right? Yeah, it's way up here. That's 3 feet out above the.
Could be the holes that already withdrawn the casing from and haven't filled them in.
Yeah, that could be.
They could probably drill, depending on how far they're drilling and how fast the drilling goes. You could probably drill 2 or 3 of those in a day if you're, just drilling away, not.
Right. Putting a camera down every one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Todd, yeah, I think so. I have that coming up here in just a minute and we can look at that. But there's that pattern right there, and I'll see if we can maybe figure that out. But here's the guys underneath the tent, and they're getting ready to look at the sonar data when they put that down, and then there it is. Now, this is that cavity that they're in. Now, we know that down at the bottom of this cavity is a jumble of stuff. Rock and whatnot. It looks like maybe a partial collapse. Aladdin's cave. Yeah, Winston. Yep. We know it's a jumble of debris down there. So the scan is going to be hard to be very clear. But from what they found in this scanning right here, it definitely looks like it continues on. And they even talk about that a little bit as they get going here. When they get back over to do the analysis in the war room, we'll talk about that. But after seeing the objects in the cavern, they decide to do the sonar to obtain more information. The team puts down the sonar in the borehole at the depth of 150 feet, and they begin to get an image. He goes down about 6 more inches, and it becomes more defined. And then Marty is mentioning in there about the offset chamber. But this is where it's going now. And I did catch him talking about it. He said it's going east. I'm sorry. Yes. East and west, right? Or north and south. He said north and south.
Yeah.
It's going north and south. And we know that north, I was always off on my orientation of the island. So north is well, anyway, I would have to have the map up to show you, but
I need the map too. I get turned around.
Yeah, because I always think north is like over the Garden Memorial Shaft and towards Smith's Cove, but it's not. It's over more towards Nolan's property is kind of north from the Money Pit, towards Tom where the house and stuff is. That's north, more that angle. So he said Steve had said this is going north and south, this tunnel here. So
Yep.
that's real cool. So
And that's quite a
yeah,
size cavity. But you notice where
is.
they dropped the sonar down from the 0 point of the sonar, it looks like they really got lucky because there's nothing showing to the top part of the page.
Right.
It's all below it. So it looks
Yeah.
like they hit the end of it right on, whatever it was, where there's caved in behind it or something. but-
Right. Yeah, I think that's it. I think it's a collapse area. I mean, as much as they've been doing and Dunfield and working in that, Dunfield wasn't digging here. He was
No.
digging very close, but over for 200 years, people have been punching holes and digging and doing all kinds of equipment up there. It's a wonder that it's not all collapsed down there, quite honestly, as much as they've been doing with it. Hey, Kevin, how you doing? Kevin's here. So that's what we got right there, and that's pretty cool. Now, here's something that I got to show you guys this, and they showed this at the end of that little section what they were talking about the sonar, showing the sonar scan. And again, Marty, you talked about the offset chamber. Now, I brought this up. Here's a picture, but I'm going to show the video. I grabbed a little video here, and I'm going to show that here in just a second. And I want you to pay particular attention to this little circle right here. And this is just something I saw. And I want to get the opinion of all the people. We got a lot of people in chat, over 100 people in here right now. And I wanted to get your opinions on this real quick. And this was from the little, I'm going to show this real quick, but I want you to pay attention to that little circle that's on the side of that stone right there. That's the stone that Marty was calling the pedestal stone, or at least we think that's what it was. Now, I want to get this up here and I want to show you because I think it bears looking at. All right. So I'm going to go back.
And I hadn't noticed this, people, until Jeff showed it to me tonight, but keep an eye on it.
So keep an eye on that spot. It's over here to the right. And the camera, this is when Scott Barlow was adjusting the camera and looking underneath and following along. Okay. So watch over, that rock is over here to the right and you'll see it. Just tell me what you think.
Right there.
Okay. Now, did you catch that? I don't know. I'm just like, I'm not sure what to think about that. You know, I'm going to show it. I'll show it again. I'll show it again real quick.
Yep.
Here we go. I think, yeah,
It's that dark circle there on the side of that rock.
right here.
It's not part of the rock.
Bingo. Who said it? Looks like a coin. A couple people said it.
Yep. Somebody said a cross, but the cross is on the ground beneath it.
Yeah, exactly, Kevin. That's on the ground there, but what they would kind of look like a cross. Henry said it. April said it. Donna said it. One more time she said it. It looks to me like a coin. And I said, you look at it, and it goes by. Okay, I'll try.
Oh yeah, we forgot Jessie.
Jess can enhance it. She's got the tools. She has the tools. All right, I'll show it. I'll show it one more time, and I tell you, it to me. You know, to me, it looks like a coin. It's even got a shiny spot. I don't know.
Okay. Here's my speculation.
All right, go ahead.
You had your turn.
Yes, I did. I know.
Okay. If remember last, or maybe 2 weeks ago, we talked about the bottom of that stone where we thought it might have had the hand drill marks, leaving the indentations where somebody was drilling with a hand drill to make the square block along the bottom of that same block. Yep. Okay. No, could that be a stuck hand chisel or hand drill?
Yes.
That's been driven at a site.
It could be. Yeah.
Because we know they don't always get them out.
This is true, and we're going to show that in just a few minutes. But yes, it could very well be the head of a spike that's been driven in there. Mica flakes, yeah, possibly, Janet. It could be. But to me, and as that camera goes by that, go watch the episode again, and it's right after the first commercial. They come back to this. But as the camera goes by there, that sure looks like it has even a flat edge on it. And it's got a shiny, this top edge right up here on the top is shiny as it goes by. I don't know. I mean, just
it's definitely not part of that same rock. It's totally out of place.
It totally is out of place. Here's that thing that looks like a cross. Everybody's been talking about this right here. We don't know what that is yet. We don't know what any of the stuff is yet, honestly. But anyway, yeah, another one of those things that I caught. Show it several times. Hard to see. Yeah. Okay. All right. I can show it one more time, and then I got to move on because I'm allowed to show little video clips if it's like no more than 9 seconds. I think it's. I think I'm allowed to show 9 seconds. All right. Here we go. I'm going to show it one more time, and then you tell me what you think. I know you guys have already.
When you know what to look for, I mean, bang, there it is.
I mean, come on.
I see Deidre. I don't know if we had this up yet or not. They do leave the ground open for some of the boreholes with some VC pipe around it, and then cap them off later.
Yeah. Okay, could be. Yep. Very well could be. So anyway, I had to show that because I was just kind of amazed by that. I keep seeing a coin there, but anyway, we'll find out. Hopefully we'll get to find out here in the future. Let's see. Okay, so now we jump over to lot number 10, and this is the lot that is at the top of the swamp right here in this area. This is lot 10 right here. And we're going to zoom in on the guys who are over here. This is where we got Peter and Tom Nolan and also Stefan. Grund is over there, and he is going to be looking. Tom really wanted to get some scans to look to see if they could find any evidence of a wall or a dam. This is going back to the idea that the island was actually 2 islands, and that they dammed up the front and the back, or the north and the south ends, and made it a swamp and filled it in with what we don't know. But that's the idea behind it. Now, they want to do some scans over here on the beach to find out if this north section over here did in fact have some sort of a log wall or a rock wall or something underneath there that would be this dam that his father believed was there. So they start to, and here's where they're working this area right here along the beach. In this portion right here is where they're scanning and looking. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and here's the eye right here. So it's really close to the eye, just up where that spring runs through there. The spring comes in right here somewhere along this area. But, and that's where it is right there, lot 10. And there's Stefan. This is a picture where they talk about, they thought maybe there was some sort of a dam put there.
Yeah, and that dam could be made of wood as well, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. It could have been made of rock and wood. We really, we don't even know for sure if there's one there. Yeah. Combination of the two. Exactly. So here they are running the scans, and they were using the OKM Gepard 3D ground penetrating radar device. This device detects structures as deep as 130 feet, sending radio waves into the ground. When the group looks at the data, there are several anomalies in the middle of the area that was just scanned. It's hard to see it on this picture, I know. It's really hard to see. I tried to grab a good shot of this. It was just so difficult. But they're looking at these anomalies right here in the middle. Now, could these be big boulders that are underneath the sand on the beach? Yes, they could be. We don't know yet. Until
could be disturbed soil, timbers, could be anything.
Now, here's something that was brought up. And who was the first one that brought this up? The picture of Zena's map.
Henry
brought this up today this evening when we were chatting. And this is why I love this group and our everybody that's here tonight watching too, because you guys have so much information that all of us, I mean, everybody has a piece of stuff that they can bring to the table. And that's why I love interacting. I like doing these live and interacting with you guys because you guys have such great ideas. That's close to the borderless beach. Yeah, Kate or Kat. I'm sorry. Yep. Yeah, right in front of the swamp is not the borderless beach, but it's close. It's just down from there, the borderless beach. But okay, so this was the scans. And if you remember Zena's map,
Bingo. What can you say? There it is.
I'm speechless.
You know,
There's not much I can say to that. What do you
the
think?
dam, right? The marsh. I mean, do the math.
Yeah. So
You know.
yes, I remember when they were looking at the wall on the other side of the swamp.
Mhm. Yeah.
You said that, Janet. Yes, Janet, I do. So you go to Zena's map, and what do you got right there? The dam.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a dam in front of an eye of a swamp.
Yeah, because the eye is right here.
Mm-hmm.
The basin, actually, I think it's pointing here at the basin, and the wall is right here. It says the dam. Yeah, well, yeah, I think the circle actually, Kat. I think the circle is talking about the basin, I believe.
And again, that's our cartographers or map drawers rendition of what somebody told them as well, too, right?
Right.
Or translated version, even.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, it's just funny that you see the dam and the marsh. Like,
and you got something down here too on this end of it.
Yep.
And is that the rock wall that they looked at that Janet just mentioned?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it could be
or
the
ring of rocks.
Yeah.
Sethbound, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Good point. That's why I love you guys. I love doing this live because of this right here. You guys have great input. But again, yeah, it could be. But Henry pointed this out before the show tonight. He's like, "Well, remember that? Wasn't that on Zenith?" Yep, there it is. I don't know, man. What do you think? Something to think about. All right. So we will find out some more about this. And I think I think they wanted to get over there with an excavator and start digging right away to see, but they need targets. Now let them go back and start digging those targets and find out. So we'll find out. We're hopefully we'll see what that is this summer as the season progresses. We're going to look at it. Doug says, so what are you saying? What you saying is that the swamp was created in north south, not possible. No, I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying
no, he says it's not impossible.
Oh, not impossible.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Not impossible.
Yeah. And again, I don't think all of that work was done by one group of people. That's just my opinion, because we've got too many multiple dates in there, right?
Yes, exactly. That's what I was just going to say. Yep. Exactly right.
So you go in and you see something and you say, okay, well, what could I use this space for? Mm-hmm. Or this would be a great place to do this or do that, right?
Yep. Exactly.
Use what's there.
Yeah, we know that the big rock feature, the big rock area that the platform that they found, and Dr. Spooner found that piece of wood that was smashed in there, and that was from 1220. Mm-hmm. So, and that was the big rock platform I forget how big it was. It was huge. Yeah. But that was right just north of Nolan's Peninsula that jets out into the swamp right about in this area. And then right above it was that. So, I mean, you got just so many dates. It's just hard to pinpoint anything for sure. I just thought that was so cool, Henry.
That was pretty cool. Yeah. No question about it.
So, but anyway, so next we jump over to the war room and they're having a gathering in there to make an announcement. So you see everybody clapping, and I thought this was really cool. And they had Marty on camera or on the screen up on the wall, and Marty was there to tell everybody the big secret, which was that they had purchased lot 5. They got lot 5. Cerca Trova had purchased lot 5. They got it and we found out about it pretty quickly last summer when it happened. And we talked about it too, but awesome that they got it. And now they get to explore it. So there it is right there. It was owned by the Young family, Robert Young. And so there's the guys getting over there. And I mean, they didn't waste much time. Of course, it's showtime. I don't know how much time before they actually did the announcement. They just got over here with Gary. And Laird was pretty happy to get on there too. He said he'd been waiting for a long time to get on there or get in there. So then comes down the no trespassing sign. And then immediately Gary gets to going. You know, one of the things too that I noticed that, you know, being from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and I know Jess, you can contest to this. Anybody else that's from the UP or that type of area, northern Wisconsin, northern Minnesota, probably the same areas. You get around these swampy areas, and you got this matting on top of the ground. And it's a root matting. I know it's in Wisconsin because I remember seeing it over there too.
Oh yeah.
It's this matting of roots and debris that has fallen from the trees, pine needles and everything else. You can actually cut it and grab it and pull it away like a carpet.
Yep.
And find the
I
dirt.
mean, that's where all your nutrients are, right? That the trees want. It's all over the surface.
Yep. And oh, who said that? Janet. The local indigenous people. This is what you were talking about, Tom.
Yeah.
Going back to the swamp.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We get that part coming up in a bit, I think, anyway, don't we?
Yep.
Yeah.
So anyway,
hold that thought, Janet.
Yeah, hold that thought. So anyway, so I just thought it was neat because I seen when Rick got over here to start digging, he was digging through that matting, and it's really hard it's got roots and everything in it. It's really hard to turf carpet. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. And they pull out a spike. Now there was a lot going around about this spike. They were talking about what could it be? Could it be a chisel? Could it be? And we don't know exactly what it is. Yeah, Wisconsin did have a lot of it, John. That's right. You and I were there.
Yeah.
So you see it pretty pointy. It could be a chisel of some sort. Yeah, it's easier to cut with shears. Yeah. And then lo and behold, they turn around just a couple feet away and they find another one.
Find number two.
They find number two. Now, you start to put together why would these things be in this area together? Would it have been a place where they were making them, or would it have been a place where they were going to use them and they laid them down and something they I don't know, they forgot or whatever. Or was it a tool area, a tool shed area or something like that? We don't really know.
There wasn't any activity on lot 5, was there? Did they say there was no activity or no homestead or something on?
Yeah, right. Lot 5, they did. Right. Also in lot 8 too. And did you notice that Gary? He's so easily swayed. I mean, he used to call lot 8 the giving lot, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's been replaced.
It's been replaced. Now he's calling lot 5 the giving lot.
Yep.
I heard him say that on the show. It's the giving lot. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's very true, Linda. Yeah, they had to go in and do some clearing. So they didn't go out there immediately after the war room and start working lot 5. They had to do some clearing and stuff in there. And Gary even mentioned that they're coming back, and after this scene, they're coming back and pulling some of his flags that he had already gone in and metal detected. So we know that some time has passed, but I just thought it was unique that they run right over there to get going. But they do find a second spike. And there they are together. Now, this is where we talk. Rick's always talking about boots on the ground. Well, we had boots on the ground with Henry and Tom last summer, and they came up and Tom wanted to point this out. And I thought this was a very interesting thing to point out. We got these two spikes right here. Why would two be in the same area? Okay.
Yep. There's a thing called a hand drill, which I think we talked about some of it last week too. And they were used, you use them as a wedge. If you wanted to break apart a rock or split a rock, and we talked about this earlier with that obstacle down in the hole too, in the cavern. They take these long iron spikes and they drive them into a rock, and they keep driving them in and spacing them out and closing them up until such time as they split or break the rock apart.
Right.
So if you were splitting or breaking rocks in that particular area, and you would have multiple of these things. There's a possibility you could have left, or maybe they could be dropped. But my speculation is that they were hand drills used to break rocks.
Yep, they could very well be.
Those are ones that we saw in New Ross in Nova Scotia when we were down there last summer. That the person was not successful, obviously, in breaking the rock.
Not split this rock.
That was a big boulder. Like that's, that was several tons.
Right. I like how you put your hat there. Nice hat, by the way.
Yeah. It's a beautiful hat. We need
put
some
your hat
scale.
there.
Yep.
Yeah, give us a scale of just how big they are. So
yeah, so it would be about the same size as what he had in his hand.
Yeah, and they would be. I think so.
Yep.
What do you think, folks? And these haven't been used yet. They're not really. I mean, they got a little bit of a flat head up on top, but that could have been in the making of them. Once they get pounded into a boulder, they really get mushroomed on the head. But again, is that what they are? We don't know for sure. But
no, we don't
know. Yeah, let's see. So anyway, that was really cool. This is what we get when we send our team up to Nova Scotia to get some information. So they come back with good stuff like this.
Yep.
So yeah, so they could be. So and good finds on lot 5 so far. And then they go back and they continue to do a little bit more work in there.
Yeah, they go back. Yeah, they find the dreaded survey marker.
Yeah, they find a survey marker first. I didn't get a picture of that. I thought, it's old news.
That's actually the only thing I've ever found with my metal detector is a survey marker.
But they did find this little bad boy right here. And so, and right off the bat, you saw just how crazy happy Gary got. Now, immediately we're thinking, all right, is this that piece that we keep seeing in the preview of it looks like a copper type of a band or something, or some kind with it looks like blue stones in it? No, it's what I thought at first. I thought, oh, it's the blue stone thing, and it's like, oh no, it's this coin. Still a great find.
Yeah, absolutely. And Gary knew right off the bat it was important.
Yep, it was a hammered coin.
Yep.
And hammered, that means that has a significance to it being a hammered coin.
So, and they would cut those pieces off, right? To
make
if you only owe, yeah, I guess it kind of gives new meaning to making change, doesn't it?
Making change. Yep.
I wonder if that's where it comes from.
Yeah. Gary's reaction was priceless. Hello, D. How are you? And Michael's here. Michael joined us, and who else? We got a couple other people and names that I don't recognize. Bobo Elvis is here. Barbara Duncan's here. Hi, Barbara.
Yeah.
There was another one. Christy's here. Hi, Christy. Strobeck. Anyway, thanks for coming by, guys. I really appreciate it. But yeah, so anyway, so they found this thing, and Gary was pretty happy about it. He was jumping up and down. Didn't do his gold dance, but he was pretty happy. So they run over to the to the interpretive center, and he called it an old cut coin. And I want to read this real quick. Yeah, the coin is a hammered coin that were being replaced by machine coins in the 15th century. So they take it over to the lab for analysis at the interpretive center. And you see him coming in, and of course, Laird's like, "Oh, hey, they're all happy and stuff. They really want to get over there and show them this thing." And they get Emma involved so she can do the XRF scan on it.
And they have Emma's title correct.
Yeah, and they finally got her title correct. Archaeometallurgist.
Yep. I'm glad you can say it.
Wow, I can't believe I got it right. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So they got her involved in this, and there it is. There, it's a nice little piece, and she puts it in the scan machine to get a look at the thing. Now they also brought this up in the show too to talk about the one that had been found a couple weeks ago. It was a barter piece. They called it a barter piece. Hey, David, hammered bronze coin, very old. Yes. So they brought this one up and kind of talked about it briefly also.
That was on lot 7, wasn't it? That was like 2 lots away, I think. Yeah.
Yes, it was. It was lot 7. Let's see. So let's see. Gary shows Laird the coin, and Laird says it's a cut coin, and they need to run the XRF. They do run the XRF, and that tells them, or Emma tells them, that it's mainly copper with some tin, iron, and arsenic. Rick asks if the arsenic will bronze, and if it is that, and Emma tells them yes. It is, and it was began to trickle out in the 1500s,
Mhm.
and by the 1700s, it was gone. Arsenical bronze. So it was all gone by that time.
Yeah.
And
So,
also,
so the big giveaway is the fact that the arsenic is in it, right? So
yes,
we know it's not even close to being modern.
right. Yeah, and it's old. And we saw actually on the preview for uh um so we saw in the preview of next week that our numismatist was looking at it, and he said what it was, which throws another monkey wrench into the whole theory thing about what it could be, right?
Yeah.
Did you say Roman?
Yeah.
But everybody's pretty excited. I mean, and it's something that was pointed out to us. Yeah, thank you, Deidre. Roman, baby. That you see smiles on the archaeologists' faces, right? So they're pretty happy about this particular find. This is good stuff. And they get Marty on the phone, and there he is there. Yeah, so he was pretty happy to hear about that. So, and and this is one of those things where, again, you go with the editing of the words, and uh
Oh well.
was
At the
not
same time,
Bravo
who's
Tango.
carrying? Who would be carrying around a coin like that?
I know, right? Well, that's what I kind of thought about the cash coin, the Chinese cash coin. Now, I really don't believe that the Chinese run Oak Island,
No.
but I kind of figured that was a token or something that somebody had. I've got some old coins that I carry around that I sit here and mess with while I'm on the show. I'm fiddling with something all the time and coins or whatnot. So, was it a coin that somebody carried around in their pocket for a long time, and for whatever reason they just lost it? That cash coin. And again, this one here, I don't know. It's a mystery. But again, it throws into that whole, yeah, Vikings had Roman coins. Okay.
Yeah.
That was Doug. So good point there. So it could have been dropped by a Viking at some point while a Viking was on Oak Island.
Mhm. But
He said
it leads you back though to what do you even need a coin for on Oak Island 600, 700 years ago?
yeah,
It's not a store you're going to use it. There's no civilization there.
right.
There's nothing to barter for, right?
You're right. The
With a coin
indigenous
like that,
folks, the Mi'kmaq, are there, but
you
they're
know,
not. They don't care about
that
a coin.
it wouldn't mean anything to them. No, you would trade something of value, right?
Right. Yeah. Barbara said the Roman coin, the spear point. What the heck happened? I don't know. Shannon says yeah, there you go. I will bet the Chinese coin was from a merchant ship, probably. Yep. Yep. So anyway, so Marty was pretty excited to see about that. Everybody was happy to see that. So next we jump over to the war room again, and we've got Craig on video conference, and he is going to give the results of the sonar data in Borehole L-15. Or he wants to hear about it. And so this is where we get Mr. Steve Guptill, who puts all this stuff together. And again, I just it marvels that he has all this data. I mean, 500 some boreholes punched into the ground on Oak Island.
Yep.
It's amazing. And here's one of the pictures here. Now you see all these over here where they've been there. You got the head and shaft, the chapel shafts over here. You got all this stuff over here where they've been putting boreholes in. And now they're over here in this area where they haven't really spent a whole lot of time. And then they found that sonar data. He overlaid the sonar data. Stephen Guptill did.
Yep.
That he overlaid that sonar data onto the original grid map, and we're getting a look at it here and running north and south as they're talking about it here. Hey, Mary. Yeah, you're late again.
You're staying after school.
You're staying after. I'm sorry. You're going to have to.
But yeah, it just goes to show you how far out they had to move from where they were concentrating so much time and effort.
Yeah. Everything else was done over here more to the north. And yet now they're over here working and they're finding all kinds of good stuff. So they got those right there. Here's a close up of it. Now something that I noticed about this that I wanted to point out. And again, I like to take a look at these things, and it's like kind of like Jake Roberts when he gets himself a map, or looking at and John Edwards when they're looking at a map, or they're looking at some sort of a drawing or a painting, or the King James version of the 1611 Bible. They're finding all these clues in here. I like to look at these types of pictures and see what I can devise from them. And this purple line right here, this is the tunnel that they've been following when they were punching those holes down there, M16.25, and M16 or N16.5 down here. This is the tunnel that they were following, and you see what it says right here, M16.25, open tunnel at 103 to 107 feet. Wall, they hit the wall of a tunnel at 107, 101 to 107.
Yep.
Okay. So this is that tunnel, and this is where they put the M16.25 is where they put the camera down and then the sonar down, and they found that they were in a bend in the tunnel.
Yeah, which is the two purple lines, right?
And it crosses this anomaly that they have now found. This one is L16. This is where they L16 was a borehole. L15 over here is where they put the sonar down right there. And they saw this anomaly, this tunnel going this way. And they had L16 right here. Now, this tunnel says 106 to 107, obviously a collapse area. And you can see the collapse area very clearly right here, all that debris, right? Now, here's something that I hadn't noticed before or hadn't heard about before, was that they've got another tunnel marked here. Look at these yellow lines. You see these two yellow lines right here? And then it says right here, tunnel 97.5 to 102. And then they got, that's K14. Looks like K14, K13,
yep,
very close.
I see K15 to the right, so yeah.
And then they got this one right here, tunnel 97.5 to 102, right there. How many tunnels do we have? I mean, is this?
Yeah. Well, I think those are the ones they're hitting and thinking that they're that they're either collapsed or not. They're pulling up the core samples, or they're hitting the wood, right? So they're thinking that they're tunnels.
Yeah.
Oh, there's something down there. I mean, the tree didn't grow that far down, so they're hitting something. Yep.
And then up here at the top, right here, they hit it again. Tunnel 97.5 to 102. 97.5 to 102. So in different areas, look at that. That's got to be 10 feet apart.
Oh,
so
yeah.
So how many tunnels are they following down here? And, we get a little confused. We know that they were hitting one at 97, but if one is at 97 and they got one over here at 103, that's not a lot of dirt in between the two. And if they're brushing by one another right here, I don't know, man. I'm just.
And we know the ones that they found at 103. The first ones you were showing there, right? We know they're about the same. About the new sonar one is how deep? 150.
Yes.
Yeah.
145, 147 to 150.
So one goes over top of the other.
Yeah. It does. I guess it does. I'm really.
It's 40 feet above the other one.
Yeah.
40,
so are
50 feet
these
above
these
the
things coming in and out of this void area? Are they going over it? They're going over it, apparently.
Searchers, depositors.
Right. And a good point. Wayne brought up, could it be the spiral tunnels to the chamber? Could be. It could be an offset chamber. I don't know. It's crazy because, and this is the thing, is that over the course of the last 10 seasons, we have not seen this type evidence down there yet. They've been punching boreholes in this thing and putting caissons down there, bigger caissons, 10-foot caissons and everything else. We have not seen this type of camera, sonar work, whatever yet. And I think it's very, very interesting. Can you expand to back out? You mean like this? Is that what you mean? That's as big as I can. I didn't get a bigger picture of it. Yeah, I know, Winston. Yeah, big dig. I mean, just now they got this area. Now come in here with the big dig. and whatever they were going to do, freeze it and everything. But they're getting the tunnel under there. We
Well,
got to get the tunnel in there and see what's going on.
we know that the 103 tunnels, right? They should be able to come off of and maybe try and hit something off the garden shaft.
Right.
But the 150, like they're not even going to be close to that coming off the garden shaft.
Right, because they're only going down to what, 80 feet
80
in the garden shaft?
Or I mean, they have the ability to go deeper, but I don't know if they're
Yeah.
going to be willing to go, another 80 feet deeper.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know, really. So, yeah, I just thought this was really cool. I really like to analyze this, look at all this. And just this, when I saw this yellow tunnel right here, and it's talking 97 to 102 in a couple of different spots, way up here, 97 to 102. Yeah, it's just, I don't know what's going on down there. And, we don't know. Could some of this be from other people that have been trying to do recovery, searchers, and coming back and I don't know. Could any of them be a flood tunnel?
Yeah, well, that's why I say they've got to get into those tunnels and actually pull us up something that's going to date them as to purpose and who was actually down there.
Yeah, exactly. I pulled this one again just to get, and it gives you a better look at the two. Again, here's where all the stuff was that they were doing before, way over here, the head and shaft and everything going on way over on this side. And yet in the chapel shaft, everything happening over there. And now they're over here. And again, this gives you a little bit better look at that. Some of these holes that they've dug and that yellow tunnel that's going through there. I don't know. Good stuff. Now they got to get boots underground and get under there and see. One of the things that really caught me was that when Steven said how big this void area this is, area right here.
It's huge.
He said it was 27 feet by 12 feet, 27 feet east to west and 12 feet north to south.
That would hold a couple of Gerhardt trucks.
Yeah. Craig tells the team that the void is in limestone bed that is just above the bedrock. And it doesn't make any sense. Because that's when they got Dan. And again, Dan Hensky, with his years of knowledge on this whole thing. Dan had said that that any voids in the limestone probably have to be man-made. They know that there was not water flowing through here, and we've seen, because they put cameras down there, we don't see the flow of water. It doesn't look like there's water flowing because you see the debris was just, when they were looking at the one camera footage, we see the debris falling off the sides and just falling straight down. Now, we don't know if tidal, when the tide comes in and out, and it's a big shift there, how much the tide, what's the tide level about? How much of the high tide between high and low?
I don't know what the tides would be down there. They're not going to be as significant as what they are in the Bay of Fundy, but I don't know what the vertical rise and fall would be. It would be, my guess would be anywhere from 4 to 10 feet, but that's just a guess.
Right. So it is when the tide going in and out, does that cause some movement? I don't know. But the idea behind what they were talking about with Dan was the fact that there is no flow of water going through. So if you don't have flow of water, then you don't have the natural carving of a tunnel or underground water aquifer. I don't know if that would be the right term.
And you'd think it would be smoother. It wouldn't be sharp edges.
Right. If there was water flowing through there all the time, then yes, it would carve out its own little underground stream. That's not the case here.
Yeah, I wish they would tell us if that's salt water or not.
Yes, I know. I really do want to know the answer to that too. So Marty explains that the caves are usually made by water flowing through porous, soluble, and malleable or permeable material. Craig points out that the void is basically the same depth as the vault found by Frederick Blair and William Chappell in 1897. The Chappell vault. So it's at about the same depth. So could this be part of where the Chappell vault is? It's possible. So I think when they get in there, when they get down in there, if they get down to 80 feet, they're going to have to go a little bit lower, because if this tunnel, the red one, is in fact, or the purple one going up here, if it does extend up by the garden shaft, and they're going down 80 feet. And if this one's at 10, what did I say it was? 103,
Mm-hmm.
103 to 107, they're going to have to go a little bit deeper on that garden shaft to get to it.
Yeah. And it could be an angled shaft off of it too, right? Doesn't necessarily mean it has to be, 90 degrees off of it, right? It could be on a slope.
Yeah, definitely.
But a slope to 150 feet from, 80 feet deep is going to be quite steep.
Yeah. And this is the part where I keep saying how important or how interesting this season has been so far. Because of these different things that they're finding, and they're getting cameras and sonars into tunnels. We've seen the tunnels, and the one CM16.25 right here, where they found wood, and they found wood beams on top, and it looked like it had been collapsed a little bit from the bore drill going down through there. Now we see evidence of actual tunnels underground, which we haven't seen before. We're seeing sonar showing open voids down there. I mean, this is, and we've got Ian Spooner talking about the amount of gold and silver in the water. And again, going back to the whole thing that I thought maybe that whatever was down there has been taken out, but yet Ian says that if to have that much concentration of gold and silver in the water, whatever was causing that, the gold and silver has to still be there, is his opinion. So we have to go with the science, right?
Mm-hmm.
So interesting stuff. That's why I keep saying this is a good season. We're seeing some great stuff. I can't wait till Dumas gets back going again. I hope it doesn't take.
I mean, they're sharing data with us now that we've never seen before, right?
Exactly right. And it's only a matter of time before they pull up something really significant down there. And this may not be where the treasure is. It may be an offset chamber. That's what they're thinking. They found an offset chamber, but 150 feet down.
And the treasure might be, and if there was a treasure there, or if there was a treasure there and it's gone, there's still going to be a clue down there that will tell us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know what I was thinking too was that this tunnel, the purple one, at 103 to 107, they've added roughly 10 feet of material on top of the money pit area.
Oh, to the actual top, yeah.
Yeah, to flatten it, to make it where they could get the caissons going in and all that. They've added about 10 feet of material on top. So they always figure that into their estimates. Okay, so 103 to 107, take away 10 feet. What do you got? Roughly 90 feet?
90 feet,
90-foot stone?
Could be.
Was the 90-foot stone at about this area of these tunnels? Is this a flood tunnel? Is this one right here that they're following at 103? Was it a flood tunnel that was then activated when they removed the 90-foot stone?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And if it's a limestone cavern, I mean, you're not going to need any wood timbers to hold it up, right?
Correct.
Like you would if you're just going to dig through, normal ground, right? You'd need the timbers and stuff to hold it up. But when you get into a stone cavern, you don't need as many timbers or any timbers to hold it up.
Right. Because you're carving through stone. It holds it, supports itself. Absolutely. Yeah, I agree, Winston. I'm still waiting for the muon data. Yeah, I want to see it. I want to see it bad. I really thought that that's where they had some of that data already, and that's what was showing them, to get down there with the with Dumas. But I was wrong on that one. They don't even have it yet at this point in the season. So yeah, there's that. Somebody brought that up. Bill Kelly was talking about that spiral. Let me show that real quick. See if I can bring this up. Show you guys real quick. This was from Oak Island. But yeah, he talked about the spiral. Hope they don't mind. I borrow this real quick. Yeah, right there. The spiral making its way up. And there's I think this over here is the flood tunnel. But anyway, kind of cool. And there was somebody that was working in there at one point, and they were talking about the very thing. They were talking about the one of the searchers, and that's why I've forgotten the guy's name now that did the big mock-up of the whole money pit in tubes and stuff.
All right, yeah. No, I forget his name too, but yeah, I know who you mean. Yeah,
Rascal. He made that thing. It's beautiful. I mean, what a piece of artwork this is. But he had the spiral tunnel in there as well. So maybe there is a spiral tunnel. That gives you a good way to get down lower and lower, right? Keep going around and making that spiral. So good stuff. Good stuff. A couple of pictures that were shown that I thought were pretty cool was, and I like looking at going back in time and looking at some of these pictures. And their color, and then we got that colorized version of this one right here. I thought this was so cool.
Imagine the manpower, the work, the labor, just to do that.
Right. Yeah. And they didn't.
Because I mean, they weren't bringing that stuff. You know, this stuff wasn't coming on a truck, right? You know, you had to get it over there somehow.
On a boat, on a barge of some sort. Yeah, exactly.
It's not like, you know, you're in freshwater areas and you could wait for the river to freeze and haul it across the ice in the wintertime, right? It wasn't an option.
Yeah. Who said that? Look at that car. Let's see. Who was that? Oh, that was Janet. Yeah, look at that car that's in that picture right there.
Yep.
Yep.
Brought that over a barge.
Yeah. Yeah. We're down into a hole and he saw the tunnel. Yes, Robert. That was when that was, if you're referring to the one I remember, that was when Rick Lagina got into the bucket of the 50-foot. They had dug a 50-foot deep hole down by the Smith's Cove.
Yep.
And they found wood structure down there in the bottom of down at 50 feet. Rick got in the bucket and Billy lowered him down in there to see it. And of course, things were collapsing and the excavator was being undermined as it was. And yet there he goes down in the bucket. I would have done it too. But they finally came back and put a camera on the end of the bucket and put it down there.
And somebody else asked the question earlier too as well, and I didn't get a chance to go back to it, about did they do any horizontal tunneling, you know, prior to modern times? And the answer is definitely yes.
Oh yeah.
Because what would happen is they would put the vertical shaft in, go down and try and tunnel out or tunnel around to avoid the flood tunnels. So they would be a shaft going down and tunnels coming off of them. And that would be back in the 1800s.
Yeah, a couple of people are standing there. They're watching the airplane flying by.
Yeah, the railway tracks. Yeah.
Yeah, the tracks that are in there for
trolley tracks. Yep. So they could take the
spoils out and dump
spoils out of the, and there's the pile of spoils at the end.
Yeah. And where are these piles of spoils now? I don't know. So, and when I look at this picture here, I'm thinking this has got to be over towards Smith's Cove over here, right?
I would say. I would think it is, yeah.
And then South Shore down here in the front. And this is the hill leading up the hill where they got the road going up there now to the money pit area. That's really cool. I just love looking at these old pictures and this being colorized just all that much. Yeah, the rail tracks to dump the spoils, Doug. Yep, exactly.
That's one of the reasons I first thought last night they had found like a railway type spike. But those things, if you look up, if you do any research on rail spikes like I did today, no, they're too long, they're too big.
Yeah, they're too long. Yep. Yeah, I was holding my breath too when Rick went in that, but I would have done it too because I would have had to get eyes down there to see what was in that down in that tunnel. I would have had, or down in that hole, to see that wood and to know that it was a tunnel. And that's what Marty said when he got a harness on and he was down there and he goes, it goes that way. And he was pointing up the hill towards the money pit.
Yep.
So, but yeah, just
they also pointed out last night too that they're waiting for a 3D sonar scanner to come in now. The one they have is 2-dimensional. They want a 3D one. So they really want to map out what's down there. They really want to get a sense of the shape and size of what's down there.
Yeah, let's see. It was really likely the flood tunnels. Yeah, it could be. It could be allegedly Annie. Hi. First time I've seen you. Welcome. Thank you for coming. So yeah, so interesting stuff, folks. Again, another great show. I can't wait to, I mean, they keep giving us more and more, and now that they're on lot 5, what more will Gary find? And I still want to see if they ever show up that piece that we talked about that I highlighted last week. That piece that looked like a what was that fern, like what do they call that again?
Fiddlehead.
A fiddlehead.
Fiddlehead.
Fiddlehead. And you said you eat those butter and right?
Oh yeah, you pick them in the spring. Oh yeah, they're delicious. Yep.
I've seen them, and we got them all over.
Yep.
Jess knows it.
Yep.
All over in the UP of Michigan. Ferns
Yep.
are everywhere.
Oh,
And when they
they're
first start
fantastic.
growing,
Yep.
they come up out of the ground. They're curled up like a little,
Yeah.
like a little
No,
pin.
they call them fiddleheads because if you ever looked at an actual old style fiddle,
Uh-huh.
at the end of the fiddle is where the wood curls up.
Ah, yes. That's right.
That's a fiddlehead.
Stockhead. Yeah, that's right. So there for about a month they were edible. Yeah, so good.
Yeah.
I've never eaten one.
Once they uncurl, they're ferns. No, don't eat
Cat
them.
said yuck, tastes like dirt. Cat's not a fan. Cat is not a fan. So another great
hopefully they get into the.
Oh, sorry. Cool. No, go ahead.
Hopefully they get back into that swamp and figure out who was there and for what purpose.
Oh, they got to. Yeah, they've got to get in that swamp and dig around in there some more. I want to see what those anomalies are. I want to see if they can find out if the ship shape anomaly is really anything to it. And honestly, if they go in there and they start hitting and digging up those metal hits, and they start pulling up more ship parts.
I want to see metal ship parts.
Yeah. Now we've talked about over the course of my, podcast, we've talked about the fact that many of the wood things that they found in the swamp could have floated in from one of the many shipwrecks that have happened out there. And it could have floated in and got stuck in the swamp and then stayed there. Okay.
And if you take a big storm like the one they just had in Nova Scotia, right? It'll pick that old waterlogged debris up off the bottom.
Yep.
And it would throw it over something like that road that goes into the swamp. My brother sent me some pictures from Grand Manan today of what the storm will throw up off the bottom onto a shore or into a swamp-like area. And these pieces of timber are huge, and they've been laying on the bottom until a storm blew them in.
Yeah, exactly. Now, deeper down in the muck you go, the older, generally. But I tell you, if they go through and they start pulling up these metal pieces, metal hits, and these metal things are actual parts of ships. Now you got to rethink about this a little bit, because with the metal's not going to float in there. Now, the metal might have been attached to a piece of wood, which then rotted away and left the metal there. We don't know.
Yep.
But they've got a lot of metal hits.
The other thing too, that swamp could have been used for. I see a couple people actually mentioned it tonight in the chat. Was that I always thought that the swamp could have been used by multiple people for multiple purposes.
Yep.
And one of those purposes could have been a fish trap.
Right.
Yes. Right. When you look at the structures around the swamp, the stone roads, the possible wood dams that could be open and closed for water flowates, like they said on the show.
Yep.
You go up the side of a hill and they think what's a pine tartan kiln could have actually been a fire pit to attract fish in at night. Right. The changing water levels. Yeah. Back then it was probably not as deep as it is now, which would even lend it more to become a fish trap, because you want the fish to come in at high tide.
Yes.
Close the trap. The water drains out. You walk out and pick up the fish.
Yep. Exactly.
So
it very well could be. And the eye of the swamp could be nothing more than just a weird anomaly. But come on, I mean, the blue clay and the circle of stones.
Yeah, the circle of stones gives it away.
It does. The circle of stones is
multiple
not
people
natural.
Over for multiple uses. I mean, you come along and you see a structure. This would make a great wharf. This would make a great dam. This would make a great, whatever.
Yep.
Right. People have been visiting that site for literally hundreds, if not thousands of years.
Right. And then talking about Tom Nolan wanting to go over there and prove whether or not that was a dam and try to find some evidence of a dam there. And then this Zena's map with a dam pointing right there. Right where they're looking. So how did the person, whoever did this, translated this map, how would they have known anything about a dam unless somebody was there and put it in themselves or saw it there at some point?
Yeah.
I mean, you put the pieces above the puzzle together and see what you got when you put it all together. So I don't know. It's interesting. Interesting.
If you were to build a rock wall or a wooden wall, storm wall, whatever you want to call it, and leave it partly open to the sea, over hundreds of years, it's going to fill full of silt.
Yep. Oh yeah, for sure.
It's going to create its own swamp.
It will. Yep.
So, I guess to Marty's point, we're not done here until we're done in the swamp.
Yeah, exactly. I'll tell you, I'm looking forward to next week. And you saw the numismatist coming in there and talking about that coin that Gary found, and he said it was Roman. And he saw it. At first, I wasn't sure. Then they showed him it in his hand, and so he was looking at it, and he said, "Yeah, He was thinking it's Roman. So at least that's the way they edit it, And we know the
That's
editing.
the leader. That's the leader for this week.
Yeah, that's the leader for this week, I guess. All right, so that pretty much wraps it up. But I tell you what, we've got some great stuff coming up. This is the busiest 2 weeks that I've had in forever. Because I'm doing 3 shows this week, 4 shows next week. 4. Yeah, I'll do my best with it. But 3 shows this week because we have this Curse of Oak Island on tonight. Tomorrow night, I've got Pete Kelsey coming on. He is the LiDAR expert, and he does some great stuff. He's been on Skinwalker Ranch. He's been on Expedition Bigfoot. He's been on, oh my gosh, so many different shows. He's been one of the things I was reading up on this gentleman. Oh my gosh, I'm at a loss. I can't remember now. He's done so much. You're going to want to check out the show with Pete Kelsey tomorrow night. This guy has done so much work with a LiDAR and other pieces of equipment, electronics. He's really good. So that's tomorrow night. And then Friday, we're going to be talking about Beyond Oak Island on Friday. And we have Matt Howell coming on with us. I talked to Matt today on the phone. Jan set it up. So Matt was on last night's Beyond Oak Island episode, and he took the folks out diving into the river, trying to find evidence of the village that should have been there at one time. He's going to be joining us tomorrow, and they're looking for that treasure. And I've let's see. Bear with me a second here. Let's see. Oh, that's the wrong one. Let's see. Where did I put my notes for that? I can't find them at the moment. My computer got kind of screwed around a little bit. But anyway, so we've got Matt. Matt Howell's going to be with us on Friday night. We're going to be talking about last night's Beyond Oak Island episode. Yeah, and maybe one of his friends, Cornwallis. Thank you. Cornwallis. That's the name I was looking for. Yeah, Cornwallis, that guy turned out to be not such a great person. I mean, he was pretty ruthless. But anyway, supposedly he had some sort of treasure, and Matt Howell and his team is looking for it, and they may find it. Gone Diggin'. Diggin. Gone Diggin'. He's got a YouTube channel. He's got a lot of stuff out there metal detecting. Donna probably knows who he is, and Donna McCauley, but he's got a nice YouTube channel. They've been doing a lot of work. So Matt's going to be joining us to talk about last night's Beyond Oak Island episode, and that'll be Friday night at 7:30. Next week, we got Beyond Oak Island. Oak Island again on Wednesday night. Then I've got the guys from Treasures in America YouTube channel. You can check them out. They're going to be on Thursday night, and we're going to be talking to their team. They're out west looking in Utah for Spanish mines out there and Spanish treasure. And then we've got Friday night, we've got another Beyond Oak Island.
Beyond Oak Island.
Next week's.
You don't want to miss that one.
No.
That's going to be a good one. Remember when we had Marty on, or Maddie, when the season opener, we said to Maddie, there's a general type of question. Maddie, if you had to pick a couple of spots to go back to, where would you go back to? And the first place he said was Newfoundland.
Yep, Newfoundland.
That's what we're going to talk about on the 20th. He did go back to Newfoundland. He took Marty with him. He went with a fellow by the name of Bill Smith. If you remember, Bill Smith was on last year on Beyond Oak Island looking for the activities and proof that Peter Easton was active in Newfoundland.
Yep.
Well, they're back again. Then Bill is going to come on with us next week.
Yep.
After the show and give us the lowdown of what they found, didn't find, and what we didn't see.
Yeah.
And he might even bring a special guest with him who's yet to be determined.
I'll tell you, folks, this is why it's so cool to do this, because, bringing these people on, and Jan's been phenomenal. Tom, you've been phenomenal at this, and Linda, and getting these folks to come on and help us. And as I was telling Matt on the phone today, I said, it gives us an opportunity. I said, watching Beyond Oak Island is cool because, I mean, a lot of these people, do they really need Maddie and their help to come out and dig? Not really. But the thing that they're showing us is history that I did not know. They're teaching us about people and places and things that took place, events that took place that I never heard of before in many cases. That's what I love about it, is the history. And having these guys like Matt come on the show and actually explain these things to us after the fact, that they can take us into it so much deeper than I can and Tom can, sitting here explaining from watching the television program. These people have researched it. That's why it's so cool to have somebody like Matt on and Bill.
That's
And I
right.
tell you, it's just you guys will get a special treat hearing them explain it more so than you saw in 46 minutes worth of program on TV
Mhm.
with, you're going to get the real deal. And
Yep.
so I'm really looking forward to this. Both Friday nights, Friday the 13th, your lucky day. Go out and buy that lottery ticket, Friday the 13th, and also Friday the 20th. So we got two great Beyond Oak Islands coming up
Mhm.
week after week on Friday night. So don't forget, we're doing it Friday, same time, 7:30, but on Friday night. And then we've got a really, really cool event coming up on Saturday the 21st. I am so looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to all of them, but this is really cool. We got Luca Santoni. Luca, if you guys have seen my little blurb, I put a little thing on the YouTube channel, a post on the YouTube channel about it. Luca Santoni, they're coming out with episode number 4 of his Templar series. I thought number 3 was the best one. I think number 4 is going to be even better. They're taking us down a place, meeting a person of history that you probably never heard of before. And they have all these researchers. I'm going to be on here hosting 9 people. We're going to have 10 of us on screen. They're all going to be in little teeny boxes. They won't be as big as the ones that are on here with Tom and I right now, because we're having 10 of us will be on screen at the same time. We have researchers. We have Gretchen Cornwall. Amy Johnson is an actress who's playing the part of Gudrid, Gudrid the Fair. And Amy Johnson is playing the part. She's a Hollywood actress, and she will be on here with us. We've got the researchers are going to be here with us. And then we've got Luca and Luca's son, and his son does all the aerial cinematography. We've got an outline laid out for them to talk about this. You're not going to want to miss any of these shows, but man, I tell you, that one's going to be a good one. And they're doing a season premiere of episode number 4 is coming out on the 24th. So on the 21st, we're going to be talking about it. You're going to want to be here. That's 2:00 on Saturday, the 21st. And it's going to be awesome. Hopefully, I don't know how long the show is going to go, because once the researchers, we're going to have a little open forum where they can kind of talk amongst themselves a little bit, and tying all these people and places together. You're not going to want to miss these shows coming up, folks. It's really going to be fun stuff. I'm telling you, I'm so excited about this. But yeah, four shows, 3 this week, 4 next week, and trying to bring you as much good content. I love bringing these people on because they can take us deeper and teach us more than I could possibly ever do, and that's why I love having them on. So There you go.
Absolutely.
Yeah, on the 28th, Saturday the 28th, I'm actually going to be a guest on somebody else's show. Jim and Roger have their soul. It's we're going to be talking Oak Island. We're going to be talking all kinds of stuff. I'm going to be on their show. I'll put a little thing out about it so you guys know where to find it. If you want to come and check it out, I'll put it out so we can see it, so everybody can see it. But I had Jim and Roger were inside. They are insiders for Skinwalker Ranch Insiders, and they are both insiders. And I had them on my Insiders Insights. So now they've asked me to come on their show because they have a podcast too. So Soul of the Unexplained, I think, is what they call theirs. So I'll be on theirs, but I'll tell you all about it. We'll put something out so you guys will know where to find it, and to check that show out if you want to. I'm going to be a guest. I'm not used to that role, so I'm not used to not being the one that does most of the talking, right? And Jim can talk. That boy can talk. He's got some
There
good
you
stuff
go.
to say. So
You got it made. You got it made then.
yeah. Linda said Gretchen Cornwall is so pumped about the 21st. I am too. I can't wait.
She should be. She should be. It's going to be fantastic. It
It
really
is
is.
gonna be a lot of fun. And Bill Smith, I'm telling you, folks, next Friday, the Beyond Oak Islands we got coming up this Friday, next Friday. Oh my gosh.
When it comes to Bill Smith, I've already been trying to figure out where he's been. So
there you go. See, yeah, we got a lot of research to
because
do.
he can't say anything until after next week. So I've been doing my own little research.
I tell you what, folks, if you like the content of our show tonight, please give us a thumbs up. Please consider doing that. The thumbs up help us so very, very much. And I really appreciate it. If you'd like to help support the show, we have our Patreon account. It's Patreon. It's jfree906 out of patreon.com. That's Patreon is how that's spelled, Patreon. So you can go out there if you'd like to help support the show. I have several patrons, and I thank you so very, very much for all you do. I really appreciate it. It helps a lot. And give us a thumbs up, click and subscribe, and click on that notification bell so you know when we come out with new stuff all the time. So thank you guys for being here with us tonight. I've had a blast, Tom. Awesome as usual,
Great.
sir. Thank you so very much.
To our friend Deidre White, who's going to get a little surgery done, day surgery. So,
oh yes.
Good luck, Deidre. We'll see you when you come out the other side.
Yeah, let us know, Deidre, how you're doing, because we really, when you come out of that, and prayers are with you on that one, Deidre. So stay, let us know exactly. Thank you, Jess. Appreciate that. And yeah, so thanks, folks. We'll catch you next time, tomorrow night, hopefully, right? For Pete Kelsey, and then Friday night. All right, have a good evening. See you next time right here on the Curse of Oak Island and Beyond live stream. Good night.